Welcome to the Smart Thinking Podcast. This is my dad, Ted.
Welcome to the Smart Thinking Podcast. I'm your host, Ted Knightsky. As we head into summer here in the United States, I want to give you some reading materials to help you better yourself. Too often, we step away from the daily grind, not a coffee shop found in every major city, but our lives. And we use our downtime to continue to, just fill the void, to read stuff about work or read stuff for work, or worse yet, find ourselves doom scrolling on Instagram or TikTok, which I guess is fine if that's what you need. However, what about reading so that you can better yourself? This episode, I decided to give us a theme around personal and life improvement in some books that we can read this summer. I'm going to focus on well-being from multiple angles: mental well-being, emotional well-being, motivational well-being, and I actually brought a couple of biographies, one that will be very inspirational and inspiring, and one that will help you understand leadership and probably get you pretty excited if you're a Gen Xer. I want to share you some statistical and research-based impact of what reading does for you. You see, the research is pretty clear that there are huge psychological benefits to sitting down and reading. It reduces stress, and especially if you are present while you're reading, it can do great things just for you physiologically. A 30-minute reading intervention can significantly reduce stress by lowering heart rate and blood pressure. The reason I put the word intervention in that sentence was because reading can intervene in the stress of your day. It's just an intentional pause, a step away. It clears the mind, especially if you can focus on what you're reading. All of this can be done every single day. Just 30 minutes. Sit down, read. It has amazing impact on everything from your ability to stay positive to increasing positivity, but more importantly, just who you are as a person. Researchers discovered that book readers experience a 20% reduction in the risk of mortality. The more you read, the longer you live. And also, what you read matters. Book readers have an advantage over those who just read newspapers or magazines because of the commitment, the longer-term ability in the text to maintain cognitive dissonance with what's going on and understanding. Researchers have also determined that just reading increases everything. The heavy mental stimulation required to follow long-form themes, plots, and characters in a book give you more cognitive engagement, which means your brain keeps growing as you do. Growing older. Okay, so anyways, for individuals who are genetically predisposed to developing dementia, when you engage in cognitively stimulating activities like book reading, it provides you 3 years of additional protection against the disease. And for individuals without a genetic risk, regular lifetime reading provides more than 7 years of protection against dementia onset. So what are we doing here thinking about reading? Let's stop thinking about it. Let's start doing it. Do you need any more reasons to read? I'll give you one more. Leaders are readers, and reading increases your curiosity, ability to help yourself, and positions you to be able to help others more because of the knowledge that you gain, the understanding that you gain, the empathy you grow, even in reading fiction and understanding characters and all the different things that are happening. It positions you to view the world differently. The more you put in, the more you get out. Okay, weekly reminders here. And why it's important for you to invest in yourself as a leader. Because everywhere you go, every day you are leading. And leadership is anyone who has influence over another person. So get to it. Invest in yourself. Start reading to lead. Because that influence only grows with your wisdom, your knowledge, and your skills. And that all comes from two places: observing or learning. And what we want to do is we want to do both at the same time. Now, we are also following others and making sure to follow the CARE principle, collaborating, holding ourselves accountable, being resilient, and most importantly, being engaged in our work. And one of the things that helps our engagement is building our own skill sets through reading and empathy, wondering what it's like to be the other people around us, and practicing self-empathy and asking ourselves, what do I need in this situation? It's one of the reasons I absolutely love Clifton Strengths, because it's allowed me to increase my self-empathy because I understand what my strengths are, I know what my blind spots are, and most importantly, I know what my weaknesses are, so I can self-empathize much better. Finally, reflection. Every day, asking myself, what went well today and how can I improve for tomorrow so that I can be the best Buffalo leader possible and continue to charge in all the storms that I'm facing. Alrighty, so here we go. First book. The first book I found in a bookstore in a little town in Michigan. I was sitting there looking at this as I was waiting to go to a school district to help them through some professional development. And I saw this book, and it was called Poetry Changes Lives by Christopher Byrne. And I thought, I like poetry. So I just randomly opened up the book. And it's not just poetry. What it is it's a daily reflection where each day it gives you something historical that happened, a poem to read to reflect upon what had historically happened, and then a prompt at the end to get you thinking. Now, I love stuff like this because, well, of course, I am a history teacher by training and a historian, and I enjoy poetry because of what it does for me cognitively, making me think and see what the author was trying to explain. And finally, a question at the end. I just absolutely loved it. All right, so anytime I come across a book like this, the very first thing I do is I go to a date, an important date for me, May 12th. It's my birthday, which, by the way, if you'd like to put that on your calendar, feel free to send gifts to CISA 6 in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. Okay, anyways, on May 12th, it talked about Florence Nightingale being born in Florence, Italy. Florence is an incredibly historically important person because she was a nurse, and she did a lot of great things. And the first thing she did was she imposed basic standards of sanitation and nutrition amongst men who were victims of violence during wars. Now, today that sounds like, yeah, duh. But back then, people didn't know to simply wash their hands, to cover their face, to not sneeze into an open wound, to, just be sanitary and to eat well. Well, she did, and she was really an instrumental person in shifting the way that medicine propelled into the 19th and 20th centuries. So anyways, each morning I wake up and I read about a historical figure or a historical event. I read an associated poem with it, and then I read a reflective question or prompt. And then on my birthday, it said, "Today I will try to be steadfast in all that I set out to do." And I thought about that all day long. I believe that starting your mind out each morning with a little bit of an exercise, being mindful and intentional, can be super powerful for you as you move through your day. So again, the book is Poetry Changes Lives by Christopher Byrne. I bought copies for my 2 children and for 4 other history teachers, just because I thought it would be a cool way to start out each day. Okay, the second book. The second book is 2,000 years old. It was written in 49 AD, and it was written by Seneca. Now, Seneca is somebody who has historically been a great philosopher, poet, and person. But what I like about this text is it's called On the Shortness of Life, the Stoic Classics. And what Seneca does in here is he basically boils down all of these different things that we need to do in our lives. It's become very popular recently to start reading ancient texts, because I think one of the pieces that draws us to these ancient texts is a very simple premises that for thousands of years, people have struggled with the same things: anxiety, worry, life purpose, etc. So this book really focuses on a few key things. 1, stop treating time as a free commodity. He points out that it's very interesting in human beings that we spend so much time protecting our money and property, but we steal our time consistently by just not doing anything with it. Avoid the trap of preoccupation. The piece here is being busy is not a badge of honor. Whether you are chasing like promotions or obsessing over money or luxury or just mindlessly scrolling, you are distracting yourself from your own existence. And I love that. A frantic life feels short because before you know it, it's over. Another big takeaway from this book is to master the 3 tenses of life: the present, the future, and the past. And what's powerful about this is the present is that it's crucial but incredibly brief. The future, entirely uncertain and out of our control. And the past, it's fixed, secure, and beyond the reach of fortune. I think one of the pieces here that you need to really think about as you're working on your own personal well-being is to look back at the classics, to look at the men and women and people from our historical past who have struggled with the same things we have and then poured out their wisdom into text. I think it's powerful. Chapter 2 and Chapter 1 of the book are very, very powerful. The entire book is good, but Chapter 2 is entitled On the Happy Life. And what I love about it is it says, we must therefore first define clearly what it is we are aiming for if we want to have a happy life. And next we must consider the path by which we can most speedily reach it, because on our journey, provided it is taken in the right direction, we shall learn how much progress we have made each day. And that's the power of reflection. These are 2,000-year-old words, and here we are still thinking about and struggling with our day-to-day lives. The book is called On the Shortness of Life, the Stoic Classics by Seneca. You can find it pretty much at any bookstore or on Amazon. Okay, book 3. I can't talk enough about this book. Final endorsement of the book, Amy Morin's The Mental Strength Playbook. 50 ways to improve things that you need to improve in your life. I cannot get enough of this text. I keep going back to this text. I'm telling you, if you don't have this book, you need this book. You're not a smart thinker without it, because this is a manual. While it's called the Strength Playbook, it's a manual for you to help yourself, for you to help others, and for you to find yourself in a position of empowerment while trying to struggle through our days and increase our own well-being. Her chapters are broken down into these great little clusters: confidence catalysts, attitude adjusters, insight igniters. It just goes on and on and on. Happiness hacks, relaxation remedies, anxiety alleviators, dread diffusers, performance primers, tenacity tricks, interaction improvers. These chapters are then filled with different plays. Play number 24, take a nature reset. Get yourself outside. Play number 28, create a reverse worry list. Play number 34, use the 10-minute rule. It goes on and on. Friends, if you work with others, or if you're just simply trying to figure out a way to get through your day to day, this is a book to get into, because it's like having your own psychotherapist next to you. And Amy is phenomenal, and the book is everything that you would need to be able to get through your day to day. I've now purchased this probably for 10 people, where I've just said to them, I think this is something you need to help you in your leadership and or your life. The book is The Mental Strength Playbook by Amy Morin. It is available everywhere, and it is amazing. That takes us to book number 4. All right. I've never done this one before. I've never done this style of book before, but I'm in the season of life where I need to try to figure out a way to live a lot longer with my wits and my health in line. So I have a cookbook for you. Yeah, a cookbook. You see, there's this one part of the world where people seem to be happier and healthier than any other part of the world. And it's on an island in the Italian area of Sardinia. And it's a cool area, friends. And the book is called Eat Like a Sardinian, Live to 100. And the best part about it is it's filled with historical pieces, great imagery, and most importantly, unbelievable recipes. Eat Like a Sardinian. This is a great book with history and, most importantly, the explanation of the ingredients. This is a region of the world that has the most people that live to be 100. The research has shown that their lifespan is a combination of two things: their terrain and their food. The terrain being that it's very hilly. It's a very hilly area. Lots of stairs, lots of hills, ups and downs. And as a result, people are pretty fit. But they're used to climbing stairs and hills all the time, and they're also used to eating really well. Their diet is exceptional. So why not invest in your well-being with good food and then how to cook it? Some of you are listening like, oh, I don't cook that much. Well, I'm telling you right now, if you don't cook that much, if you go out to eat all the time, you need to spend some time reading about ultra-processed foods, sugar, all the different ways in which we're putting things in our body in the United States that are just really not put in anybody else's bodies around the world. Heck, the other day I was driving with a friend. I offered him a piece of gum, and he said, "Ooh, is that sugarless?" I don't eat that. That's saccharine. There's microplastics in gum. I started freaking out. I chew gum all the time. So I get back and I start looking up, the impact of sugarless gum, and sure enough, there it is. Another thing on the list of things to freak out about. Well, you know what? If there's a problem, we need a process. And the process needs to lead to a change in behaviors, and this cookbook is going to do that for you. Now, I don't know what kind of food you like, but there's vegetarian options in here. There's seafood options, meat options. There's all kinds of options. But I'm telling you right now, this is a really, really cool cookbook. I've already made 3 things out of here. And what I love about it, which, by the way, I got the cookbook a week ago. So one of my favorite recipes that I found in here is puffed pastry pizzas. Pizzette sfoglia. I have no idea if I said that right, but I think it sounded cool. It was this really simple little recipe where you took puff pastry, you cut it into circles, you filled it, you covered them up with the puff pastry, put a little olive oil on the top, hit it with some different spices, sea salt, and a little bit of rosemary, pop them in the oven, cook them for a short period of time. Next thing you know, I'm having like a gourmet meal. That's 1, healthy for me. 2, it's got everything in it that I need. And 3, it was really fun to eat. So there's all these different options in here for you. Now, I don't care what you're doing, what you're cooking, but in the summer, you should take some time to explore different ways to grow yourself through amazing texts like cookbooks. I've never offered you a cookbook before. If you like it, send me more, because I tend to collect them, especially from the Mediterranean. And why the Mediterranean? Well, I'm telling you right now that a good diet does a bunch of stuff. First, it sharpens your executive functioning, especially if you get it from the Mediterranean, which I'll explain in a second, because your brain needs good food. And the brain does a lot of good things when you start cooking, because cooking forces you to balance multiple timelines. You have to prep the vegetables while keeping an eye on the heating pan, while remembering that the rice has been simmering for exactly X amount of minutes. You've got to do all of these different things. It's just like a project and running out something. And the reason that it's important is because, like everything I've talked about today, it's going to sharpen your brain, which is going to increase your life. The benefit, well, successfully executing your recipes forces your brain to practice sequencing and cognitive flexibility, which keeps your whole mind and all the neural pathways very agile. This book is filled with great techniques and recipes and is a must if you love Mediterranean food. And what I like about it is the Mediterranean part. I've said that a couple of times, and this is why. My doctor, every year when I go to my executive physical, says the same thing. Ted, as long as you maintain a Mediterranean diet, you can eat whatever you want. Well, this is a recipe book filled with recipes to devour and eat whatever you want, because it's so healthy and so good. Okay. The book is Eat Like a Sardinian, Live to 100 by Francesco Mattana. All right. Now, book number 5. My birthday was a few weeks ago, and a group of my colleagues that I work with at CISA 6 gave me a gift bag. I was pleasantly surprised and even happier when I opened up to find that there was a book in it. And that book was called It Wasn't Meant to Be Perfect by Gaelynn. And I love this book. I love this book because it's a memoir. And the memoir is about her. It's very candid. It's beautifully candid. It's engaging and a vital addition for all of us who love both music biographies and disability literature. You heard that right. Disability literature. I love this book because it was inspirational. I'm a kid person by heart. I love working around children, and I love seeing people who persevere and go to the next level beyond the expectations that anyone has lowered for them. This book is amazing because Gaelynn is best known as this mesmerizing violinist who won the National Public Radio's Tiny Desk contest in 2016, and then later she composed the Broadway score for Macbeth. She brings the exact same lyrical precision, warmth, and gentle defiance. I wrote that. I love that. Anyways, gentle defiance to the page that she brings to her life and her music. The book is a memoir of her journey, and it is fuel for your inner soul, especially if you work with children and especially if you work with people with disabilities. She was born with something called osteogenesis imperfecta, which is a genetic condition causing brittle bones and shortened limbs. Leah's childhood in Duluth, Minnesota was shaped by loving and creative parents, and the book talks all about it. And they gave her an early reason and determination to play music. When standard classical training didn't easily accommodate her body, she engineered her own approach, holding her violin upright like a tiny cello and using custom looping techniques to learn how to play. And she's amazing. Go onto YouTube, look her up, watch her video, her Tiny Desk concert, and then learn all about her. I love this text all the way through because you could just see her, you can hear her voice, her humor, and most importantly, her drive. The book is called It Wasn't Meant to Be Perfect, a memoir by Gaelynn, and it is fantastic. Okay, book number 6. Whew, I have 7 of them. Hold on, friends. Book number 6 is just fun. If you're a Gen Xer, you're going to love this book. If you love music, you're going to love this book. If you love history, you're going to love this book. If you're into business, you're going to love this book. The book is called Unplugged Adventures from MTV to Timbuktu, and it's Tom Freston's story. Now, here's what I want you to think about. Imagine if a hippie hitchhiker who dropped out of corporate America left to run an export business in the 1970s in Afghanistan, and then somehow he ends up becoming the CEO of Viacom, building MTV into a multi-billion-dollar empire and commanding companies like Paramount Pictures. This book is the story of a non-linear life. It's a business memoir that reads like a rock and roll adventure. I love it. And what's cool about it is it just provides a lot of questions and curiosity. Like, how do you end up in a room with Mick Jagger, Run DMC, Paul McCartney, and George Michael? Well, you run MTV. It talks about how to take risks and then how to be radically empathetic when you build a culture, especially a cultural powerhouse like MTV. Now, MTV has come and gone, and the book explains that, but the book's really a leadership story, a business story, and a historical text. It's a very fun read, especially, like I said, if you're a Gen Xer, because you'll learn the history of entertainment world that we were experiencing in real time when we were younger. You'll learn why Michael Jackson was on MTV, how Nirvana got there, how Beyonce got there, and then how it all came back. I really enjoyed reading this as a leadership text and just a simple, personal book of entertainment. It reads fast, but read it with a pen because you'll pull a lot of different leadership pieces out of there. Okay, book number 7. It's from someone who I've referred to you before. He wrote a book called Strength to Strength, and it's Arthur Brooks. And it's his new book, The Meaning of Your Life. Finding Purpose in an Age of Emptiness. Now, first when I saw the title, I thought, oh, Lord, I don't want to read another book like this. I just don't need The Age of Emptiness. I was like, what is this all about? So I was standing in Barnes & Noble in Wicker Park, Chicago with my daughter, and I started to read it as I was standing there looking at the new releases. And the next thing you know, my daughter Gracie's like, hey, are we going to go soon? And I'm halfway through chapter 1. I'm halfway through chapter 1 standing in the bookstore because the meaning of your life is much more important for you to start to think about than I guess most of us actually think about. And the reason it's so important is because it's the lack of meaning that's creating these anxiety crises across the United States and the world. It's the lack of meaning in our day-to-day that is causing people to leave work, to drop out of school, to not follow their passions because they're not seeing their meaning. And they're spending too much time in different places where they're distracted. The book breaks it all down. Arthur Brooks is a professor, and he works with young people all of the time. And his research and his findings and his observations fall through this text in so many different ways. And here's what I want you to do. I want you to really think about reading this text right before the school year starts next year, or right before you start a new job, or right before you start a new project. Because we are personally responsible for finding our meaning. It's not going to show up. It's no one else's job. It's a Buffalo leader's job to charge into the storm and look for their meaning and purpose. You'll read this text and pause often. You'll reflect upon his research, his questions, and, frankly, his ideas. And there you'll be, wondering, what is the meaning? The book is The Meaning of Your Life by Arthur Brooks, and I highly recommend it. So there it is. Books for you. Books for you to learn and grow from, to use to reflect, to learn, to manage, to focus on your well-being emotionally and physically, as well as looking for inspiration from Gaelynn or Tom. These are fantastic texts. Find your meaning and do all these things. If you get one of the books for the summer, get Amy's book. Get the Playbook. If you get 3 books, well, get Amy's book, Francesco's book, the cookbook, and Arthur's. That'll be a great 3. And here's my challenge for you. I want you to find 3 other people to read this book with, whichever one you choose. Then I want you to plan a meal. Yeah, you, from the recipe book. I want you to look in the cookbook and I want you to pick one recipe out of there. I want you to make that meal. I want you to sit down with other people and dialogue around it. I want you to start to build a small little group of people who you can do multiple things with, learn with, socialize with, argue with, debate with, and grow from being around. I want you to create for yourself a really enriching moment in time with other people, because it is through those types of experiences that we focus on our well-being. Take the time to read, to offer yourself purposeful distraction. Take the time to grow yourself and challenge yourself and reflect upon what you're experiencing every day and practice self-empathy. Then take the time to invest in yourself and learn how to deal with what's going on around you and recognize that historically these things have been happening forever. Then learn to cook and find yourself entertained by books that are both inspirational and powerful, and then end it all by reflecting upon, what is my meaning? These books invest in you one at a time and then shared with others. Well, that'll help you grow every day through your life. And you will grow through your life by intentionally investing in yourself so that you can be a better version of you and lead into any storm that is coming your way. So let's do some smart thinking. Okay, list the books that you're going to read this summer. Which ones are you going to read? Second, list the people in your life that need to increase their reading, and which book would you give them? And finally, describe how you can incorporate opportunities for others to read and lead together so that you can grow in your understanding of what you're experiencing and what's going on. That's it. Hey, that's the Smart Thinking Podcast. As always, thank you so much for listening, and please make sure to rate and share this episode with others. Check in the comments for this episode, and you'll see the list of books, and get onto Amazon or go to your library and get them. I'm telling you right now, the greatest thing you can do for yourself is invest in a book so that you can grow yourself forward. Also, thank you to the Well Pennies for their amazing music, and Golden Bear Studios in Des Moines, Iowa for always giving us permission to use real music that's not generated by, that's not artificially generated, but generated by great artists and human beings. And remember, always support not just your local artists, but all artists by purchasing their music when you can. Because I love those Gen Z. Record stores are thriving because vinyl is final and they know it. And it is fantastic to own, hold, and feel a record again. So make sure to support all of the different artists that are out there. Okay, as we close out, one more final thought about reading. It's just plain necessary. Reading, especially on paper, not digital or audio, but the book. The act of touching, feeling, opening, smelling, and seeing the words actually is a great way to reduce stress. Remember this. If you're feeling overwhelmed, one of the fastest ways to reduce stress, to calm your nervous system, is to read a book. There's a really famous study by the University of Sussex that compared different methods of stress relief by raising participants' heart rates and stress levels and then testing different relaxation techniques. Listen to this. When they did this study, taking a walk reduced stress by 42%. And you needed 10 to 15 minutes to reduce that stress. We hear our entire lives the importance of exercise, and exercise is important. However, if you want to reduce your stress levels, it's not the fastest way. Taking a walk is very powerful, and you should do it, but it only reduces stress by 42%, and it takes 10 to 15 minutes. Now, here's something that I thought was really interesting. Sitting down and intentionally making a cup of tea or coffee takes 5 to 10 minutes. And then slowly drinking that cup of coffee. And that's it. That reduced stress by 54%. That's 12% higher than taking a walk. Now, third, of course, my favorite, is listening to music. That reduces stress by 61%. And if you sit there and you listen to 3 or 4 songs for 10 minutes, that will reduce your stress level as long as you are focused on and listening to the music. But here's the part that I thought was really powerful. If you take 6 minutes, so less time than listening to music or drinking a cup of coffee or taking a walk. If you take 6 minutes and read a book, you reduce your stress levels by 68%. That's a ton. Reading matters. Leading matters. Being intentional about what you do and managing your stress is not just important, but stress and managing it is a way of life. Focusing on your well-being is a habit that needs to be watered and fertilized with frequency. And reading is one of the best things that you can do. The texts that I offer you, they provide reflection, knowledge, skills, and engagement. Pick them up, read to lead, and focus on being a better version of yourself today as compared to just yesterday. If you're freaking out and you don't know what to do, go find a book, a newspaper, a magazine, and just sit down and read for 6 minutes. Focus on what you're reading, focus on what you're doing, and see and feel your stress go down. I'm telling you, every single day provides us the opportunity to just get better for tomorrow. And we're only comparing ourselves against yesterday because that's the goal. One forward-facing day at a time. Just get a little bit better with a little investment in yourself and read a book.
Would you say when I'm gone away, my lover came to me and we lay in rooms unfamiliar, but until now, until now, until now. Would you say to me sun for his sturdy arms, and we both learned to cradle and live without, live without, live without. Would you say when I'm gone away, your father's body was Judgment Day, and we both dove and rose to the riverside, riverside, riverside. Would you say to me when I'm gone, your face is faded but lingers on, 'cause light strikes a deal with each coming night, coming night,